You feel me?
I would like to say this project did not go as planned, alright? Like, at all. It just went straight downhill. It just did not turn out how I want it. Either way, this video was originally supposed to be a glass painting of 2 Demon Slayer characters, but it wasn't it. It wasn't it. The vibe was off. I was having a shit week. Everything just went downhill, one thing right after another. So, I took a break. But before I stopped recording the glass paintings, I did open one of the blind boxes, which I should explain that on this channel, I want to do a thing where every project I record, I want to have a unboxing. For every video I record, I want to do a blind unboxing or an unboxing video of like whatever it is. Like, it may be Pokemon cards, or it may be like something from that show that's a blind box. That's what I want to do. I want to do an unboxing of whatever, especially Pokemon cards. Just throwing that out there. I may have like 100 pack Pokemon cards on standby for the next 2 projects, so expect that pretty soon. Really soon, hopefully. Now onto the actual video. I'm gonna go through this part quickly because, again, I've already said, like, shit didn't work out, it wasn't good. Looked at Hell Week and I was like, alright, you know what, fuck this week. And so I took a break. Took a break after doing the 2 attempts and unboxing, which we got. But yeah, after the attempts were made and I was kind of just like, you know what, this week is not going well for me at all, because it was part of the project and a part of real life, and it was just, I just took a step back and I thought about what I could do, because a glass painting did not feel right. It just did not feel right. So I just sat there and I just tried to think of something, and I eventually did. Alright, now it was the planning and like the printing week. Basically, I eventually got an idea and I thought of like, alright, I'm gonna make a coaster. I've made one before. It's not that difficult. I wanted to step up. I wanted to do something more detailed. So, I took my favorite character from the show, the most flamboyant pillar there is, and I wanted to make him into a coaster. If you want a more in-depth tutorial on how this stuff was done, if you want it, let me know and I'll make it. But for simple versions, take your image you want to use, smack that background out, right? Turn the image into black and white, convert it into a 3D picture, take that 3D picture, print it, and then boom, you got yourself a 3D image that you now need a mold. I also went ahead and made like a normal bigger square, so that way I can fit the mold. What you'll see, it will be explained. Alright, now it was time to mold. I did take a short break, but it was whatever. Now we're back. Now, I was kind of nervous about molding because I do not have the best of luck with molding. Some of my molds are like messed up, and some of them are like, they're not the best looking. I'm still learning. I'm still learning that in resin. It's pretty easy. Just follow the instructions on your mold. It's typically half part A and half part B. If you get silicone, look at your instructions, read the instructions. And I think mine has like an hour of playtime, just when you can mess around with it. I don't know for sure, I don't have it on me. The kind of mold that I make is that typically you can take cardboard and make yourself and like hot glue yourself a square around the item you want to mold, but I use the Lego method, which, you know, it works great sometimes. I did have a bit of a leakage issue. You know, it worked out. It did its job. And you basically let that cure for a day, or like, I think I did 2 days. I don't know. You probably shouldn't use what I use. I think I use poster putty to help hold the thing down. But you know, I'm gonna try hot glue next. Maybe that'll work better. And also make sure the seals around your Legos are pretty good. Alright, resin time. After you demolded your mold and nothing is broken and everything looks good and everything looks great, it's time to do resin. Now make sure when you do resin to wear a mask, because this shit stinks. And it's probably bad for you in the long run if you do it like all the fucking time. Doing resin is pretty easy. It's, you know, follow your instructions again. Mine's part A and part B, equal parts. I typically use only 2 cups. I measure it out by weight. I used to eyeball it for the longest time, and then I got some bad resin out of that, so I started weighing it and measuring it. But once you get them all into 1 cup, you mix that for like 5 minutes and then pour carefully. I usually take a heat gun either in the cup or when it's out in the mold. I tend to avoid using it on the silicone because after a while it can kind of warp your silicone, I found out. Your main point is to get the bubbles out. I usually do it at the beginning of the resin pouring, so that way you can get a good bit of bubbles out, and then you typically wait like 10 to 15 minutes for those little bubbles kind of rise. You also want to make sure you get like every crevice and stuff, so when you're pouring the resin, just like, you know, stab your finger in there or something, just rub down the mold so that way all the resin's in there, or you can like pour it slowly a little bit at a time and make sure it's just touching every little crevice, because that's what you mainly want, because bubbles can form in that little crevices and it's not a fun time. You will usually wait like 10 to 15 minutes depending on the playtime of your resin and wait for bubbles to come up and pop those. But in this case, I forgot on this mold. I mean, it's not major for this mold, but it's still just like you want these to come out the best way possible. So, but after you're done with the bubbles and you're happy with it, just let it cure for a day or however long it says, and then you're ready for the next step. Okay, next is painting, and if I sound different, my bad. It's been 4 days, and I also like woke up like a little under an hour ago, so I'm not as energetic at the moment. I'm not awake. I'm just not awake. I'm not functioning properly. Anyway, painting. I struggle the most with painting just because I'm not a painter. I don't draw anymore. I don't paint anymore. And I wasn't really good at painting to begin with or drawing. I just make stuff now. My knowledge of color theory is very horrible. So I got my girlfriend to mix all the paints for me. And with it being a print and it makes indents from like, hey, this is where this color goes, or hey, this is where this color goes. That made shit so much easier. That helped out a lot. It still turned out like crap, but I have to say, when you look at it from a distance, it looks amazing. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. I'm probably just gonna have it on a little pedestal or something and keep it in the distance, so that way I don't have to look at my mistake. There is like, towards the end, I did like miss some spots. Like I forgot to like do a blackout on his little chain, and I feel like there's something else I forgot when I was looking at this. Oh, his collar. I forgot to do blackout line on his collar. So there are things that I'm probably going to do different the next time around. Well, I know that I'm going to do different next time around. But yeah, other than that, be careful while painting. Make sure you cover everything if you do this. I would recommend holding it up to the sky, or like have like a light on the back of it, so that way you can see if you missed anything. And then after painting, after you get everything painted and you're happy with it, it's time to do another coat of resin. Alright, now with the resin, we've already went over how to do the resin in the earlier part of the video. But this time, I made sure to pop the bubbles after 10 minutes. Alright, I'm pretty sure my resin has like a 40-minute cure period, so therefore, I went back in 10 minutes later, and I popped more of the bubbles. Just make sure you get all those bubbles out of there. Mix it correctly, pop your bubbles, and let it cure for a day or two. And then you're on to demolding. Some of the resin did go up on the sides, and I did kind of have like a little moat. It's not a moat. I don't know. It had an edge to it. So I did go in with the Dremel and I kind of just cleared it up. And I don't know if you noticed, but part of the resin got under the actual image that we put in there. So there, it has like a clean spot and then it has a lined spot. I know how I'm going to fix that. I've already thought about how I'm going to fix that next time. I think I'm going to leave it frosty. You can take resin and put it on where you did the Dremel and it will clear up the resin. It will make it look clear. But I think I'm going to leave it frosty just because I like it.
Don't go running around in these circles. You'll trip and fall and it hurts yourself.
Alright, before we get into the final shots of the coaster itself, let's do the last unboxing, which I actually nearly forgot while editing this. But hey, I remembered. So let's do the last unboxing and then we'll get into the last shots. Ah, it's not the one I wanted, but you know what? I'll fucking take it. Damn, this thing's heavy. This part right here is heavy as fuck. But this ain't. I really wanted this one. But you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. Let me open it. This. It doesn't go in there well, does it? Kind of just bounces. Alright, there we go. I would like to say that this coaster is nowhere perfect. Alright, there's a lot of things I can do to fix it, and I will do next time around. But learn from my mistakes. Do the stuff that I, didn't do. Like, make sure the bottom of your coaster mode is smooth. Make sure your print, the 3D picture that you're printing from is smooth, because that's kind of what fucked me up, was the print lines showing up through the paint and stuff, and it made it look awful. So make sure all that is smoothed down, so that way the paint goes on nice. Paint nicely. Don't rush towards the end. Take your time. Art takes time. Don't rush art. Never rush art. It's something that I keep fucking up with. I'm not really good with outro cards, but with that information in mind, see you guys in the next one.
Every day we been getting this shit. I said for 100, keep it 200 go. They cannot fuck with the vision. I wanted to get it, so I'ma get 200 more. Homies been flipping, I just been chilling, kicking it like taekwondo. Came fast like a minute man last when I finish it. Say on the